Member for Maple Ridge Mission.
Well, thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Be it resolved that this House urge the government to take immediate action on an economic recovery plan for British Columbia. This motion by the official opposition implies that our government has not taken immediate action to help BC with the economic recovery that we all need. Well, that couldn't be farther from the truth. As soon as the pandemic started, Premier Horgan called on members from all parties to work together. This not only meant flattening the curve, but also supporting people and businesses impacted by COVID-19. Now, given my background, the Premier asked me to work with the Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture to reach out to those immediately impacted by arts, culture and the creative industries. And the Minister and I reached out to over 160 arts organizations, festivals, film and television companies, venues, artists, theaters, nonprofits, music companies, publishers, digital producers, and many others to identify the need and how we can help. And what we found is that different parts of the arts and culture and creative industries were impacted in significantly different ways. For example, whereas music, theater, and television and film production closures immediately forced many out of work, while others like video game and animation productions largely moved online. In other words, each part of the recovery had to be tailored to the specific stakeholder needs. Now, the most important word that we heard was flexibility, and the government listened. After the initial consultations, the Minister with Creative BC launched ShowcaseBC.ca, a live streaming portal, and $750,000 in micro-grant money to get money into the pockets of impacted artists. So far, 740 artists have received grants. The BC Arts Council was also able to provide $3 million to arts, nonprofit organizations to cover immediate operating costs, and many arts organizations were able to get this year's funding up to 6 months early. This action was close to as immediate as possible. Now, however, there was so much more to do, and from the consultations we learned that many in the sector were unable to access federal pandemic supports. So we responded by ensuring that gig workers weren't left out, in particular allowing for certain royalties to be allowed and up to $1,000 per month, allowed many who weren't in the arts sector to get the CERB allowance, and many in the creative industries as well. The Premier then asked me to drill down into the recovery of the music industry, and I spent the next few weeks consulting with stakeholders in the music industry, one of the hardest hit sectors. Again, I found that the complexities of the industry presented unique recovery challenges, and stakeholders continually reflected flexibility with funding. After an accelerated consultation, I provided advice to the Minister in May, and on June 1st, very quickly, the Ministry and Creative BC launched a retooled $7.5 million Amplify BC Fund. This new version of the program built in the flexibility, innovation, resilience required for the music industry, not only throughout the pandemic, but so that it can thrive in the future. Now, because we took the time to listen, the right decisions were made to provide the correct support for the music industry's recovery. Moving forward, I'm very honored to chair the Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government Services, and we recently finished a record number of submissions around the province with virtual consultations, with a mandate from the Minister of Finance to consider the impacts of the pandemic on people and businesses. And I look forward to the final report in August to help advise all ministries on the needs of British Columbians and the economic recovery. The government is also inviting feedback on the recovery plan, and I encourage all British Columbians to take the survey at engage.gov.bc.ca/recovery ideas. And last week, I was very happy to join the Minister of Finance for a recovery town hall. And what I heard spoke to the manifest need for these consultations. The needs are enormous, diverse, and complex. After this consultation process, I believe our government will be in a much better position to ensure that every dollar spent of the $1.5 billion in economic stimulation will have the maximum benefit, and that all sectors and that all people who are part of our economy will recover from this very, very difficult time. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.